Want to see a hot dog bird? So I've been doing game development on YouTube for over 7 years, and I have not completed any major games in any like official way until now. So I'm going to tell you a bunch of stuff that I learned during the development of my game Leaflup's Candy Hunt. The first thing I want to talk about is not being early. I had this problem when I originally made the game. I was like, I'm going to make this game in a month. But then quickly realized that I couldn't make the quality of game that I wanted to make in a month. And I want all of my games to have a reason for existing. I don't want them to just exist and there's no point for them to be there. I don't want it to be like some lackluster game that nobody's going to care about or nobody's going to play. If I'm going to put the time into it, I want it to be something that people will actually care about. And 1 month is just not enough time. I don't even know why I would force myself to have limited time to do that. But I also just did a lot of stuff too early, like talking about what the gameplay of the game was gonna be before I actually figured it out. And I would post little teasers and stuff before I even figured out the story. And so the people that were interested in the game had no idea what was going on. It was changing all the time. And I think at a point people were just like, I don't even care. The game, he said the game was going to come out this month, and then he said it was going to come out that month, and it just hasn't happened. Just needed to shut up. I just need to learn to shut up sometimes. I get really excited and I want to show stuff off. But from the perspective of the customer or whoever's interested in the project, there's some stuff that they don't really need to know about. Like, things are work in progress and they change. Maybe after you complete the game, you can make a thing saying like, oh, this is what changed during development. But don't be putting that stuff out there immediately. I'm such an idiot. The next thing is that some things during development will come at the end, and that is okay. And sometimes they're better coming at the end than when you originally planned for them to happen. So an example of that is right here. I have this map, and I have this actual map sprite, which isn't finished yet. There's no like background visuals, it's just like the actual map itself. For the longest time, this menu was just like the names of the locations and there was no actual map visual on the side. I kept seeing that and being like, oh, I need to make that map. Oh, I need to make that map. I'm glad I waited because it didn't really make sense to do that, because what if one of these locations changed? You would have to go in, change the whole entire look of the map. You would have to move the different UI elements around. So I'm actually glad that I waited until the end to make this map menu, because when I had made the actual menu for the map, it was like early on in development. It's one of the core mechanics of the game is being able to teleport to any of these spots on the map. And I did feel kind of bad that I hadn't had that part finished yet and it was on my checklist and I would always see it. But I'm actually glad that I waited, because it was so much easier to just do it at the end and I don't have to switch it around and change it too much. So some things you might feel bad for not completing, but maybe you just need to wait, like the tutorial. I put an early tutorial in the game, and then once I had finished the game, controls changed, things changed, I needed to redo the tutorial. Just wait until the end for some stuff. It'll come together. It'll happen. It'll work. That also kind of ties into the next thing I want to talk about, which is don't set everything in stone until it's actually set in stone. And what I mean by that is you need to be able to pivot. You need to be able to do quick movements when you're developing a video game. A lot of things can change and a lot of things will change. You can't be the most perfect, precise person when just planning everything out in a document or doing little placeholder test builds and stuff. Once you put everything together, some pieces need to be removed, some pieces need to be moved around, and you need to be able to not be so stubborn and set in your mind how things are. One specific good example of this is you should make your game and also make your story, but don't make your game a specific way just because of the story, but you can make your story a specific way because of the game. A lot of the times when people make games, they can get really dragged down because the story is a specific way, but then the game has to be a specific way. And you need the two to be able to work together with each other. The original story that I had for this game didn't actually make sense in the gameplay, so I had to completely scrap it and redo it like 3 different times. And that's okay because the actual story turned out to be a lot cooler. Okay, the next thing is do little things, little polish, little extra fancy stuff in the middle of development just to spice things up and make things fun and give yourself a little bit of a confidence boost. An example of that is this little save icon here. For the longest time, the save icon in the game was just a green square, and every time I saw it, I'm like, this is ugly, it looks stupid, and it looks bad. So I went ahead and animated this little save icon, a little floppy disk. It like spins one way and then flips around the other way. After I made that, I was like, that looks so cool, and it made me so happy, and it made me so excited to keep working. Could you hear the cat meowing in the audio? He's meowing at the door, but if I let him in, he'll come in and then immediately want out and meow at the door again. Do you have something you want to say to them? Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is it really benefited me to play video games myself, enjoy my own life, and to also pull inspiration from things in my life, just be inspired by the world around me. That made a huge difference on the development of the game, and it actually pushed me in a lot of ways to actually finish the game and improve it, make things better, make things make more sense. I've been really struggling with commitment to things for years, and that's really rubbed off onto my YouTube channel, which is something I didn't want to have happen. So people have seen that I am terrible when it comes to committing to things. So in order to change that in a fun way, I decided that throughout the year of 2025, I was going to see how many games I can complete. So far, I've completed 12 different games, and I've learned a lot of stuff about committing to things. There's like a hump that you get to. It's like really fun when you come up with the ideas, and then you'll like hit a spot where you're like, oh, this sucks. And that's usually when I turn around and try to do a new thing. But I actually discovered that once you get over that hump, it's like the best thing ever to actually finish stuff. Finishing things is so cool. I'm a finishing things kind of guy now. I've also been pulling from the real world to inspire the world that this game is in. The actual world, the Candinia Forest, which is the place the game takes place in, is actually inspired by my hometown neighborhood. I lived in a small little country town with less than 1,000 people, and a lot of the visuals and vibe were inspired by that. There was kind of like a mystery to things back where I lived. You know, there's like a little bit of a forest. Maybe you're walking down a trail and you see like a weird thing. A thing that would happen in our town is a train track went straight through the town, so you'd always find like old railroad ties. We would check the sides of them to see like the year of the railroad ties, and I would always collect them. So growing up, I always had this like sense of mystery about the town that I lived in. So that inspired a lot of things in this game. Like this little billboard here that has been destroyed is inspired by the town I grew up in, which has this old and nasty billboard that no one ever buys or puts anything on, but it's still just there, and that inspired stuff like this billboard in the game. Alright, I'm still super busy working on polish and stuff for this game. I can release this game very soon, but a lot of people in my community said that the fan bases of Undertale and Deltarune and those types of video games, more so on the narrative side rather than like the gameplay side and just like the characters, actually lines up a lot with this game, which is really funny because I've never played Undertale or Deltarune, but I think they're very cool games. And those games are coming out very soon, so I'm actually going to wait to release it maybe an extra month. I don't know, let me know. I don't want this game to be put out at the same time as that game. I feel like that would just be a silly idea for me to do. It would hurt the sales. And also I want people to experience this game at a good time, and I want them to have fun with it. So I think I might wait a little bit and do some really silly marketing stuff and maybe some extra videos. This game has turned into something completely amazing, and I'm so excited for you guys to meet all the characters and to just... I recently did testing with the game with a couple people in the Discord server, and it went over very well. People really liked the game. They found some bugs, which I'm fixing now, but the game is pretty much complete. It's just all polish and little extra stuff. So yes, Fairlii has completed a game. I'm so happy that I've completed a game, and I've learned so much stuff that I'm going to take with me to Jelly Fields, and that game is going to be able to be even better. And I've just learned so much from this game. This game has become very special to me, very important to me, and it kind of encapsulates the entire 7 years of me attempting to make video games. And it's very beautiful and it's very special to me, so I hope you're interested in it. Thank you for watching Fairlii Friday. Not every Friday is a Fairlii Friday, but this Friday is what? Feeling fairly. Bye guys, missed you.